Tuesday afternoon, I appeared on a podcast with a guy named Chris. He runs a gun enthusiast channel based in East Texas. He does reviews, talks about the industry, talks about safety. Seems like a good guy. While we were having a friendly chat about guns and gun rights, 19 innocent children were lying dead in a classroom 80 miles west of San Antonio. Their lives stolen with one of two military-style weapons that the killer had bought a week earlier on his 18th birthday. I've often mentioned that the human brain is not considered fully formed until about age 25. I did a video a few years ago that argued for raising the voting age to 21. In my view, it had been a terrible mistake to lower it to 18. Democrats like it low. Some want it even lower, because they base their platforms on appeals to emotion, and 18-year-olds are emotional creatures. That voting video was popular with my viewers. This one, while we were still just a Facebook channel, not so much. Here, I agreed with then Florida Governor Rick Scott about raising the age limit to 21 for buying rifles, as Democrats sought to entirely outlaw the guns they call assault weapons. Scott wasn't the only GOP governor to tighten up gun laws in the wake of the Parkland massacre, but they all faced pushback. I'd now like to make a few more arguments in favor of raising the age by 3 years, specific to military-style long guns, and tell you why I think that red states ought to take the lead and do it now. And I'll explain why I think that this move would be a very conservative move and would ultimately strengthen the Second Amendment. Let's start the truck and get into it. Years back, I pledged never to publicly mention the names of these mass shooters. Many others are also taking up this habit. We understand that these shooters want to be famous. This carnage is the cry of a twisted mind to be seen and known. To be acknowledged is powerful and important. If we as a nation resolve never to speak these killers' names or show their faces, that would go a long way toward breaking the bloody links of this copycat chain. But most media is in it for the money, so my self-imposed gag order is a long way from catching on. What is much closer, I believe, is for all states to put these military-style weapons out of the reach of teenagers. Rick Scott and others understood that the immaturity of the Parkland shooter was a primary factor in that killing. He was 19. Suicide rates are consistently highest among young people. The cutoff for these high rates is age 24. This has everything to do with brain development and life experience. When we're young, we simply haven't lived long enough to understand that our feelings are not permanent. If you've been rejected, made fun of, failed socially in any way, you think that your life will always be that way, that you don't have very much to lose. Teenagers are also highly peer-focused. They need social acceptance, and when they fail to get it, they're apt to hurt themselves or others. Sometimes while acting on dark ideas picked up from online groups that do accept them. Disaffected teens are also very susceptible to the righteous revenge fantasies that are shown over and over again in movies and first-person shooter video games. Hollywood has profited wildly by selling this stuff to vulnerable youngsters. In the movies, bad guys kill the family of some former Special Forces badass, and the rest is just bloody payback. This is the player's view for Call of Duty, the top-selling first-person shooter game. A Santa Monica firm, Activision, makes this game, and they know how to keep a military weapon in the frame at all times. How ironic is it that the red state obsession with these guns is rooted in sunny Southern California? These things are people-killing machines, but also macho symbols. Just look at pics from a pro-gun rally. AKs and ARs are on the flags, and the guys are wearing tactical gear. They want to look scary. Hunting animals for meat is a multifaceted thing. It's not all about the weapons. Gun enthusiasts, however, aren't necessarily hunters. For them, the focus is on potentially killing dangerous humans. Nobody carries a gun because they might see an 8-point buck in the Walmart parking lot. This is the most popular target on Amazon. Does that look like a deer or a duck? But Dave, military-style weapons are just rifles, and most gun murders are done with handguns. Right, they are rifles, and rifles are a small percentage of gun deaths, which is why you need to be 21 to buy a pistol in the United States. But these guns are not just rifles. They're also objects of fantasy. And they really are preferred by mass murderers. Sandy Hook, Aurora, Parkland, Las Vegas, El Paso, Buffalo, etc., etc., and now Uvalde. That preference is directly related to image. If you're trying to be a badass Avenger, you want to look the part. You don't carry Grandpa's deer rifle and wear an orange vest. You wear military garb and carry a Rambo gun. It's the cool factor we're talking about here, whether we admit it or not. That's why your 18-year-old wants one, and that's why he shouldn't have one. Of course, nothing would stop you from putting one in your gun safe and taking your kid out to the range to shoot it now and then. I always shot my dad's guns with my dad. Look, I'm not talking about outlawing these guns. I'm talking about doing the one thing that will prevent them from being outlawed. Just postponing a purchase to allow for 3 more years of maturity. This would also allow for background checks to actually produce data on unstable types. Kids just out of high school have been flying under the radar. Listen, being conservative means not taking unnecessary risks. Arming teenagers with fantasy fulfillment weapons is an unnecessary risk. When did we lose the guts to tell our children no? To teach them that delayed gratification is good for them? When did we become the people who won't put anything before our own recreational rights or those of our kids? By leading the charge for this very sane idea, we would show that our sense of civic duty has not left us entirely, that we actually do care about the black and brown human beings who were torn apart by alienated kids with Rambo guns in the month of May 2022. You know as well as I do that red states are turning purple. Even Texas. Can you name a blue state that's turning purple? How much more carnage will it take for Democrats to simply outlaw these guns? The smart move is to raise the age limit to 21 of our own volition. If we take the lead on this, we take the energy away from the folks who would ban all guns if given the chance. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and then click the little bell to get notifications.